Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dishing with Stephanie's Dish, the podcast where we talk to people in the food space, cookbook authors, people generally obsessed with food. I am holding in my hot little hands favorite recipes from the Midwestern kitchen. Book is called simply Delishaas by Hayden Haas. Delishaas. I love the title. It's so funny.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me on.
Oh, it's a blast. So let us talk about your cookbook and you somehow have not been on my radar. And then I found your Instagram and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this guy's from the Midwest. He has almost 500,000 followers. He's friends with Molly Yeh." I mean, how tell us about how you got started in the cookbook world because you must have been a food stylist. Your book is incredible.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yes, I did have a little bit experience with food styling. I got my start on Food Network, surprisingly, as a dishwasher, and that sort of led me on an unexpected path into the food world, where I was then met with Molly, and then, the pandemic happened, one thing or another, and then I was her personal assistant, and then got to see all everything that's involved with that whole world. And Molly was such a joy and kind of taught me how to write my own recipes. And I'm so thankful for all of the time that I did spend with her, learning behind the scenes. The most important part was obviously the recipe development, but also kind of when I was working behind the scenes, I kind of learned how to film and direct my own videos, as well as edit them at the same time too. So it was kind of just a full package deal. I still to this day don't even really realize that I'm doing so many people's jobs, and I'm so thankful that I had that opportunity.
Yeah, your book is well, it's beautifully shot, and you can tell um there's a lot of lifestyle to it. And yes, we're looking at recipes, but many times we're looking at not completed recipes, like the ingredients of making it. There's a lot of color in the book. Whoever did the design, it has a real rainbow flair, which I think is really cute.
Yes.
I just loved
So
it. I really got the book, and it feels really like if I knew you, I feel like this is really a reflection of you.
thank you so much. That was something that was really important to me. I kind of think of this as like my debut album. And it's so special to me because one of my best friends actually took all of the photography for me. And there's so much family and friends and everything tied into it. And my designer's name was Lindsay Dobbs from Penguin Random House. So I really wanted to include a lot of color. That was something that was really important to me, and kind of all seasons, even though it is based mostly in the Midwest, and we have winter here maybe like 6 to 9 months of the year. So trying to cover all of those bases and get pictures was probably the hardest part.
Yeah, and people, I mean, just the shooting of a book and having the seasonality to it, it is hard. Like, I'm working on a book that's a sort of cozy winter cooking book. Well, we
Yes.
haven't had snow for over a year, so I'm trying to find snowy pictures.
Yes, you're also a published author, and I was just checking out your books as well.
I am a published author, but I think I'm in a different vein than you because while I do like developing recipes, my point of view is usually typically from like someone's inspired from a grandma or a friend and then I kind of take it and make it my own. I am getting a little more confident in just being like, oh, I'm just going to make this and kind of knowing how things come together.
Yeah, and that's something that's super important in my cookbook too, because that was inspired by all of the important women in my life, like my mom and my grandmas, and of course, like Molly. There's so many people who have contributed to me at this point that I couldn't not also include them, and all of these people who have motivated me and supported me, including all of my followers and stuff. Like this wasn't originally my intended career path, but I am so thankful that it is.
What was your intended career path?
I went to school for architecture and drafting. I had dreams of becoming an architect, and then I decided that That wasn't really where my heart was, but it was a very good paying job.
And you live in North Dakota, is that correct?
No, I actually recently just relocated to Minneapolis.
Oh, so you're probably like a neighbor somewhere.
Yeah, I'm freshly here for a couple of months, so I'm still kind of catching my bearings and making my little space home. But Minneapolis has been so welcoming, and I have literally no complaints. It's a really great place to be.
Yeah. So now are you here for a short time or
No, I'm here to stay until further notice.
okay.
Is there-
So
yeah,
I'm gonna connect with you and we'll have a cup of coffee and maybe I
yeah.
can help. Because do you need, this sounds so weird. Do you need friends?
I do need friends. Yes.
Okay.
Been so actively looking for friends. I need more foodie friends. I'm kind of like, I don't want to say I'm a shut-in, but since I work from home, I just cook all of this food and I get to share it with all my friends and neighbors. So it's just a great little opportunity and kind of like a howdy neighbor to Minneapolis.
Yeah, I love it. And same. So I'm always cooking tons of food. I'm also like, because of the radio show, we go out a lot, but I'm always looking for people to eat with. I know that seems weird,
Yeah,
but
I
like
just
not
love
everyone loves to go out.
I'm also in that category. I also love having people over because, you make a ton of cozy recipes. So it's like when you provide that environment of home and just being able to host somebody in your home is just so wonderful. And that really fills my cup.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've got a mission to get you introduced because we're getting into what I think could be the long winter months. I don't know. It's 80 degrees out and it's practically Halloween, so it's very weird.
Yeah, so strange how that's happening. I always knew Minneapolis was slightly warmer than where I'm from in North Dakota by at least 20 degrees. So I'm like, oh, if this is really what it's like, I'm all on board.
No, it's not at all. It's usually cold as hell.
Yeah.
All right. So I first found out about you from my friend Paul Folger from Channel 5. And
Oh,
he was telling me about when you were on Twin Cities Live with him and Elizabeth,
mhm.
and that you brought this pickle popcorn.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm obsessed with popcorn so much so that I really am not supposed to eat it because I used to eat so much of it. I had like stomach
Oh
problems.
no.
But he brings me in this Ziploc bag full of this pickle popcorn, and pickles are like, I'm obsessed with pickles and I love popcorn. How did you think of the pickle popcorn recipe? Because it's a great recipe.
Thank you. I am in the same category as you, as popcorn was literally my favorite snack when I was growing up. I just made a video talking about this slightly. Like, I was such a little weirdo with my popcorn. I mean, after school, we lived pretty close to a movie theater, so you could like pop in and grab some movie theater popcorn as a great little snack. So popcorn's always been one of my favorite things, along with pickles. So combining the two just kind of felt great. I love using pickle brine as an ingredient, and any opportunity to use fresh dill. And we all know and love butter, so it kind of just fell hand in hand.
This is funny because I really am obsessed with dill too, just because I grow it and it's like it volunteers in your garden where you don't want it, and then you're like, oh, I have dill, and you just have so much of it, you just end up using it all over.
And I think that's such a great problem to have too. I don't know. It's either because I'm also a little bit of a gardener myself. You can either grow it and it'll have like a bunch of abundance, or you're just done for it and you're not gonna have dill that year.
Yeah, I've had those years too. And then like the years you have it, you're like, wow. What I thought was so fascinating about the popcorn recipe was that you used the brine with the butter and it didn't completely sog out the popcorn. Like
Yeah.
it did have kind of a day after taste a little bit, but
Mhm.
I love that about popcorn.
Me too. I not to go back to movie theater popcorn, but I always loved it more the second day.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you kind of combine those together and you coat them kind of gradually, you don't want it to be like soggy from all of the butter and whatnot. So kind of figuring out how that works is, you kind of figure it out the more often you make popcorn.
Well, Paul said that you were considering putting it in your next book.
Yes, I haven't announced that I'm doing the next book or anything like that, but I am so happy to share it. And so that is one of the next recipes that I do plan on sharing. But it is already available to share on my blog, and I would happily make a video for everyone to follow along with.
Yeah, I really loved he brought it in. I am not supposed to eat popcorn. I ate a handful. I loved it. And he was like, "Oh no, you can just keep the bag." I was like, "Paul, I can't because I have no self-control and I will end up eating this entire bag either by the time the show's over or on the way home in the car."
Totally
So
relatable.
we laughed about that. When your book has everything, like you have desserts, you have cozy casseroles and hot dishes, you have drinks, which I also really enjoy. I have a lot of drinks in my book too. You've got a lot of soups. We're in the Midwest, right? Soups are great. How did you decide? You have a lot of recipes in here too. Like they must have been cutting you off.
We had kind of a tricky time deciding on it. We did originally have more recipes that we wanted to do, but we kind of decided on, the photography that was really important to include and any like follow along steps. But there's over 125 recipes. I tried to make it kind of accessible for everybody to be able to shop because I came from a really small town where, some of the largest stores you had were probably like a Walmart or something
Yep.
along those lines, Target, Walmart. So you should be able to shop most of these ingredients from places like those wherever you are in the world. So I took a lot of thought into that. Based on things that you have in your pantry and or fridge that are just like staples to always keep on hand, I it was really important to me to share with the reader that you can make all of these delicious things with things that you probably already have. A lot of my personal favorites, I'm a big breakfast and brunch kind of guy. I also love like the meat and potatoes of things. I think that's kind of very Midwest. If you know my dad, he's like always more protein, just can't get enough of that meat. And soups are kind of like my um favorite thing in the entire. I think it should have its own food group because it's just the best, and I love just
You
always
and I are gonna be fast friends, dude. I can just tell.
cannot wait to have you over for a fine bowl of soup. And then, of course, I'm not much of a sweet tooth, but I love making them for other people. And then, same with the adult beverages. There's mocktail options in there too. So I really wanted to cover all of the bases, things that I regularly enjoy or that were from my childhood and nostalgic, but slightly modernized, and from foods of all kinds of cultures that I really wanted to share and also put my own little fusion or twist on.
You seem very excited about your food life. Do you ever feel like taxed by it? I mean, with so many followers, you got to be spending a lot of time on social media. Does it ever feel like you're giving up too much or just like you're burned out?
I, that's a great question. Thank you so much for asking. I definitely experience burnout. On those days when I would say that I film maybe like 3 or 4 days of the week, and sometimes it can be 2 recipes, sometimes it can be three. So it kind of just depends weighing on my schedule and then other projects that I have going on. Trying to make that all work. It's so much fun and stressful at the same time. I love it so much that it doesn't always feel like work, but that doesn't mean that I don't get emotionally or physically taxed from it. So sometimes where I'm like, today is not a filming day, or like, let's say I get like a zit or something like that, because we all have everyday problems and stuff like that too. I, um, that's also really important where it's like, I don't like edit any of my videos where it's like lighting them different or even when I'm food styling, it's not like I'm doing anything crazy. So I want people to, when they see a video or a recipe of mine, where it's like, how you see it is probably how it's gonna show
Yep.
up. That's, how I intended it. And I tested that recipe 10 times or 100 times. So it's like, I want you to have that result because I know the person at home, whether they're living on a budget or, just trying to get more experience in the kitchen, that they have that confidence and they can pretty much jump into any recipe in the book that, it's anybody from any walk of life would be
Yep.
able to. So that was super important. And but sorry to get back to your original question, being taxed by the or taxed or burnout. I definitely experience burnout, but those are the days where I'm like, it's more of a work on my computer type of day and
Right.
let's order some takeout.
Yeah, I when I looked at your book too, because I'm in the final, like I'm just in the final edits of my book,
Yes,
that's due December 31st for my second one. We
congratulations.
have a couple of like similar recipes. They're different, but they're similar. So it'll be fun to see when mine's out, we can kind of compare notes on some of the recipes.
Yeah, I would love that. And that's something that I also value so much about the community and followers that I've built is a lot of these people do try the recipes, whether they post it or share it or whatever. People are making it for their families and it's bringing so many people together, which is what makes me so happy. Or I love when somebody makes like a soup or a dessert recipe for like their friends and stuff because that's what I love to do.
Yeah.
It just feels full circle and it really makes my day.
So, what is the first dish that you remember like making yourself? Can you remember? Did you cook as a kid?
Um, there's so many things. My mom always had us in the kitchen. So we were always doing like baking and fun stuff like that. A recipe, I guess the one I can remember the most is not actually like an eating type recipe, but my mom and I used to make our own Play-Doh.
Yes.
Yes, and I mean, occasionally I'm sure kids eat Play-Doh,
Yeah,
so I would taste it and be like, "Ooh, that's salty." And so, like, not quite a recipe that's supposed to be edible, but that's the one that I think about and I want to share all the time, but I don't have any kids to play Play-Doh with.
that's funny. No,
Yeah.
I think, yeah, we made that a lot as kids. And also, I don't even know why we ever made this, but we used to make our own like homemade Tootsie Rolls.
Oh my gosh, I bet that was so special.
Yeah, and I don't know where we got the recipe or why we would make those, but I had sisters, and so that's what we would do.
It doesn't love a sweet little treat like that.
Yeah. Are you a freezer hoarder because you're cooking so much?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of disorganization that happens but at the same time, I'm pretty good about not having food waste. I kind of like auction things off to my neighbors and people that I meet that are kind of like within the vicinity, where I'll say like, hey, for example, I just made my breakfast pizza recipe, and so I can kind of just auction it off to my friends who are all super busy and whatnot. And oh, it's just great because I kind of get to feed my own little community and get their feedback at the same time, where it's like, yeah, don't add onions to this, or that was too salty, or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's so helpful to get that
I
here.
think I'm creeping my neighbors out actually because I'm always like, I just this morning I did a TV segment. I had all these Rice Krispie bars. I didn't want them in the house because I'll eat them. So I just loaded up paper plates and kind of went door to door. And people are just like, my next door neighbor, I know she's just like, because I this in this week alone, I've brought them a chicken pasta dish. I brought them apple muffins, and then I brought them Rice Krispie bars, and that's like within the last 3 days.
Yeah, I don't hear the problem in any of this. I think you're probably the favorite neighbor.
I hope.
I'm sure of it because I do the same thing. I was dropping off tiramisu, cheesecake, and some pizza and brownies. So we're in the same category. And if they don't want those leftovers, I'll take them.
That's so funny. Yeah, I need to. I feel like, oh my gosh, these people probably think I'm so crazy because I'm always just
Oh,
walking door to door with piles of food. And I have a brand new neighbor that's literally right next to me that I haven't met yet. And they looked like they moved in over the weekend and then maybe are doing some painting. So I left some of the muffins on their like door.
ugh.
And
That's how
my friend said, she goes, do these people realize who you are and like what a gift it's going to be living next to you? I'm like, I don't know.
no, I 100% support all of that. Spread the love. I always say it's like Nesquik, don't come for me like legally, but I always say share the wealth. And if your wealth is baked goods, share them. People are
Yeah,
gonna love
exactly.
them. I mean, it's not like you're gonna give them anything terrible or anything. Yeah, we
What's
only give away our best creations, right?
Yes, exactly. So when you were at Food Network, you did you directly work on Molly's show or did you work on some other shows too?
I worked on Molly did a couple of things with HGTV, so that
Mhm.
was kind of fun to see what that was like. But I started off as a dishwasher and then moved up to a food stylist. And then at the same time, I was also Molly's assistant.
Yep.
And I've also had my own little touch of reality television because I was on Food Network's Chopped.
Oh, you were.
It
So
was
let's
a
hear about that.
it was really fun. I did a blind date episode where, yeah, it was so much fun. I was matched with somebody that I had never met before. And so you kind of go on a blind date, and then, you get the basket with all of the mystery ingredients. And I think my ingredients were like a cranberry kiss cocktail and like a red tail snapper and some heart-shaped ravioli. And my partner and I, when we went into it, we initially kind of had like a situation where I was like, do you want to take the lead or do you want me to be sous chef or whatever? And he decided he wanted to be the lead. And I was like, I'll support you, whatever you want to do through the way. So I was happy to do that. I wouldn't have necessarily made the dish that we ended up making. Spoiler alert, I didn't end up winning, but it is still a really great episode. And I'm still friends with all of the women on that show.
So
So
what did you end up making? Because I was listening to your ingredients and thinking, oh, well, the cranberry's got to be a sauce.
sure. If you're familiar with like kind of like a pate situation, it was kind of like that, but with fish. So not always a big winner. If I could have made what I wanted to, since you have the cookbook right there, I would have made or leaned in towards my cranberry tortellini recipe.
Yeah.
And I think that would have like surprised some people, but it also might have been like kind of boring because it's like pasta and Alfredo cranberry sauce or whatever, you know?
No,
Um,
Alfredo sauce is never boring. I don't care. I feel like I eat noodles 62 times a week.
yeah, I'm always a huge advocate of pasta myself.
Yeah, I'm gonna just go to that recipe right now and we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
Because I love pasta. I eat pasta all the time. And I made spaghetti for a friend this weekend and she came over and she goes, "No offense, but can we just order takeout? I really hate noodles."
What?
I was like, "Who are
Ah,
you?"
interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was. Okay, so
Your friend just
your cranberry sauce. Let's see what we have in there. Here we are. Oh,
yep,
I'm
it's
on the wrong page. Here we
tortellini Alfredo sauce that we make from scratch, and then I do have my grandma's cranberry recipe. It is like I guess I like my cranberry sauce a touch sweeter, but you can make it as bitter as you want
go. Yep.
to.
Okay, this looks really good. It's the sauce is kind of pink. It's got a sun-dried tomato, mushrooms, artichoke hearts. Looks delicious.
Yeah, big fan. When I was in college, there was this little restaurant, not Olive Garden, but when I was waiting tables in college, that was one of the more popular dishes from that restaurant.
Let's talk about all the like plates and the dishes in your book. Are
Oh,
these all things you own or did you guys rent things?
no, I did not rent things. All of those were things that I do own because I am kind of a mix match person. So none of my plates match, none of my cups match. I uh, maybe a bit of a maximalist, if you will. So I love
Yeah.
having a collection. I also kind of display them in my dining room. So then whenever I have somebody over, I'm like, grab any glass. So then that person kind of gets to pick whatever fun glass or fork or plate, whatever they want.
Cute. I love that idea.
So much fun. And then, you always get really fun pictures at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. And I am feeling a little bit like, and I'm getting to the end of this book, so I'm feeling a little hoardy at this point.
Sure.
And like, oh, I need to like maybe get rid of some of this stuff or repurpose it to the next house. Goodwill is my friend, but sometimes the things go back to the Goodwill too, right?
Hey, you don't have to tell me. I'm an avid thrifter myself, so I love finding like a plate or two every time you visit or something
Yeah.
where you're like, I have a vision for this particular plate, and it's gonna have some delicious pasta on it, and or here's this old pillowcase that I could sew into a napkin or something. So it's like
Yeah.
repurpose those things, make them beautiful, and share them with everyone.
Okay, I love that you would actually repurpose a pillowcase into a napkin.
Oh, and I've done an old tablecloth into something or other. Like there's,
Cute.
it's all mixed match. I tell
I
you,
love it.
the whole cabinet just for my linens.
Can you think of something like where you got a real score at a thrift store? Like, do you have a favorite thing you thrifted?
Um, Good question. I do, but I don't have I really would love to provide like a image for you, but I since I am such an avid thrifter, I have a whole collection on my living room wall of mirrors.
Cool.
So it's kind of like, you know how people have those like picture collages and stuff in their house?
Yes.
It's kind of like that, but for mirrors. So it's like the whole, and they're all different kinds. Like some are new and nice. Like I'm
Yeah,
sure some are from like a Target or whatever, because they've
sure.
got a cute one. But they're all different kinds, and some have little stands on them. I've got my favorite one is like this vintage CoverGirl mirror. Oh, it's like tiny and cute. I Everybody loves it when they come and check it
Oh,
out.
that's fun.
Yeah, and I don't know if a mirror is probably the greatest example because I really don't even look at myself in the mirror that much, but it's just such a fun little uh addition to home and calling it cozy, and it's always a conversation starter when somebody walks in the door. And I've
Yeah,
had
it sure sounds like it.
say that they want to copy it. I'm like, it's all yours. Please enjoy.
So when you think about a cookbook that you wish you had written, can you think of one?
A cookbook I wish I would have written.
Yeah,
Oh,
like you just find it so inspiring.
there's so many people that I'm inspired by. Um, that's so tough. I would say somebody who I am always inspired by is Molly A, of course.
Yeah.
I learned so much from my time with her. There's a couple of other people who are kind of influential. So going back a little bit, when I was kind of burnt out in between architecture and whatnot, also very Minnesota of me, I went to go work for Target like part-time, but then they ended up wanting me as a manager, which is great. I loved my time with them. Um, in that time shift, that's when I started cooking for myself. And I really didn't have like social media before that. So
Yep.
I kind of like started out fresh at like the age of 27 and started posting like food blogs, pictures, like kind of starting out my own little food photography or food journey. And my mom had gifted me Chrissy Teigen's cookbook. And I was so thankful for that. And I cooked my way through it and I started sharing some recipes. And she started commenting and liking on some of my things. And that inspired me to do more, which kind of led me on my way to meet Molly Yeh. But there's so many other people like Anthony Bourdain and, most of the people on Food Network. So that was like so funny that in my small little town that I was given like an opportunity for something I didn't think I would ever have.
Yeah. And
So
Chrissy Teigen's Cravings book, I thought that that was a good cookbook.
she's got about three or four in her series. I've haven't done as much investigating into the newer books, but the first couple were so great and like everything, you can pretty much make from home.
Yeah, I really liked Pepper's book too, her mom.
Oh yeah, I also have that one. She's so cute.
Cute. Do you have like a white Pyrenees or what's your dog?
This is Max. You'll see a ton of him in the cookbook also.
Cute.
He's an English cream retriever, and so Max makes a couple of cameos in there as well.
Well,
Um, yeah,
Stanley, my
Pepper
dog,
assistant.
yeah, I was gonna say you may have heard him. He was at a squeaky toy earlier, and I was like, shut the door.
I wasn't sure if you heard Max earlier, but that was him.
That's funny. Well, this has been a real delight. Hayden Haas, simply Delishaas. It is recipes from the Midwestern Kitchen. It's a beautiful book. I am excited to connect with you. We will eat
Yeah,
or do something fun. I feel
we're
like we're going to
gonna,
be fast friends.
we're gonna warm up at some point.
I think so, yes. But it was great to talk to you. Congratulations on the book. People can follow you at, I'm sorry, I didn't write your Instagram down.
It's the same thing. I want to tell you congratulations on your book, and I can't wait to get together sometime. Um,
Thank you.
you can find me if you usually type in Hayden, Hayden, and then Delishaas, Delishhaas, because, or if you just type in Hayden Haas cook or something or other, it'll come up. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all of the stuff.
I'm amazed and impressed with all the work that you're putting out, and your book is great. Thanks for being a guest today. I'm sure we'll get together soon.
Yes, thank you again so much for having
Okay. All right. Good to see you. All right. Bye-bye.
me.